How to apply for a school. Hello and welcome to Videojug. Once you've decided which school you'd like your child to attend, you need to apply to that school for a place on behalf of your child. Rafe Lucas, editor of the Good Schools Guide, is an expert on school admissions and gave us this advice on applying for schools. Step 1. Admissions criteria. Schools have specific criteria which help them decide who to let in. These are mostly a matter of where you live and whether you fall within the catchment area of that school, but some schools will apply other criteria.
Every school will have a set of rules by which it chooses its pupils. In the private sector, these can be anything. There's an astonishing variety in the private sector. You just have to live with what they offer. In the state sector, by and large, they are regulated. They can only be particular kinds of criteria, and the rules will be set out very clearly in the prospectus, in the local authority documentation. They can vary between schools, but they'll all be much the same. And you need to study them carefully because they will give you the best possible indication of whether you've got a chance of your child getting into that particular school.
Step 2. The application. School application forms are available from your local authority. These will detail exactly what information you need to provide and when you need to provide it by. You can apply for more than one school, a maximum of 6 in London and 3 in other areas. You will be asked to list your choice of schools in order of preference.
The schools don't see what order you put them in, but that order determines the order in which the local authority will look at your application, and it will give you your first choice first, if that's possible, and if not, move on to your second.
Step 3. Supporting material. Generally, state schools don't require any extra material to support your application. There are a few exceptions, however.
There are some schools that are still grammar schools, still selective, and there you will be in competition with everybody else who has gone in for that test, and it can get ridiculous in London. You can get 100 children applying for one place, and it's a question of whether they've got a cold on the day or not. Generally, though, there are no tests, no academic tests for English state schools. If you're applying for a religiously selective school, you will probably have to produce a letter from a priest or some other evidence that you belong to that religion.
You must complete your application by the deadline set out by your local authority, or you're unlikely to be given a place in your preferred school. Step 4. Fitting the criteria. If you have your heart set on a particular school, you may need to make adjustments to your own lives in order to fit the criteria more effectively and maximise your chances of getting in.
Mostly that's a question of moving house. Can often be changing religion or tutoring your child for academic selection. But the most common way of doing it is for parents to rent somewhere firmly within the catchment area, move there for the crucial period of a year or two, and then once you've secured the place, to move back. And that is perfectly legal if frowned upon. If you try and cheat on that, if you just rent somewhere and don't move there, you are liable to find that the headmistress has stuck her nose through the letterbox, seen the pile of unopened circulars and crossed you off the list.
If you're unable to do this but are still determined to get a place at the school, it's still worth applying.
Put it as your first choice. You will end up on the waiting list. You won't get it, but you may get a chance later on, or something may suddenly turn up trumps and you'll find your way to being there. But don't count on it. Don't ever think that you can get there by appeal or by some other mechanism. You're giving yourself a chance to get in later.
Step 5. Appealing. Many good schools are oversubscribed, so unfortunately some children are denied places even if they meet the admissions criteria. If this happens to you and you have a good reason why your child should attend that particular school, it may be worth appealing against the school's decision.
Generally, you have to appeal quite quickly. It's worth doing it professionally. There are organisations who will charge a modest fee for helping you, but the good ones will double your success rate. It is a question of focusing your appeal on the things that really matter, that make a difference in that school, of making sure you are producing all the evidence to support your particular need for your child being at that school. And it is judged by a human tribunal at the end of it. So if you've got a really good case, whatever the basis for it, it's worth making it.